Hello.
We are looking at the non-profit organisation Women on the Web, who help women to have an abortion in situations where it is illegal or difficult for them. Rebecca is a Dutch doctor prescribing abortion drugs out of Austria after an online consultation to vulnerable women around the world. The drugs are then being sent from India to wherever they are needed. We are specifically looking at this in relation to Ireland. The drugs are not actually getting to the women in Ireland because they are being stopped and seized at the border. We are looking at this situation from a European Union law perspective. The most important law in the EU comes from the treaties. In the treaties, there are rules there should be free movement of goods and services within the Union. However, Ireland managed to negotiate a protocol that is attached to the end of one of the treaties. The protocol states that nothing in the treaties shall affect the application of the abortion section of the Irish Constitution in Ireland. The use of the phrase "in Ireland" is something that we found interesting.
Ooh.
If the protocol applies, then that's the end of our argument. But if it can be argued that because of the nature of the situation, it isn't necessarily just in Ireland, then this provision may not apply, in which case we will have to go deeper. However, because of India's involvement, the only activity that is within the Union is the service of the consultation and prescription of the drugs. Although, it doesn't seem like Ireland are restricting that part, and so we had to focus our research on the law relating to the drugs. For the abortion drugs, which are classed as goods, a different set of rules are applicable. There is something called Common Commercial Policy, which essentially governs the EU's involvement with the rest of the world. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, also known as GATT, is part of the EU's Common Commercial Policy and sets up a single border to trade in goods which spans around the entire Union. The arrangements for trade across this border are to be identical, regardless of which EU country is concerned. Ireland can't have different trade relations than the other member states, so we thought we had an argument. There are general GATT exceptions to GATT's liberal rules on trade, one of these being on the grounds of public morals. However, it will be the morals of the entire Union and not just Ireland. So they can ban the abortion drugs from the EU as a whole, but not a partial ban just for Ireland. There's a regulation which implements the Common Commercial Policy, but it doesn't operate along the same lines. The regulation refers to member states being allowed to prohibit trade on the grounds of public morality. Therefore, Ireland's own morals would be relevant, and not the EU's general morals. So unfortunately, the Common Commercial Policy argument appears to be a dead end. The only valid argument we do have is still not entirely solid. This argument is based on fundamental human rights. Irish women are allowed to travel to obtain an abortion, but the average cost of this is around £1,000. Therefore, the only women who are suffering are the poorer women in Irish society. Also, there is a right to liberty and security. Women should have free control over their bodies and not be made to continue with pregnancy if they do not wish it. However, because the human rights arguments are untested, they are not concrete, unfortunately. But the most important thing is that at least now Women on the Web, the organisation, can know the reasons why Ireland are allowed to take the drugs at the border, so our research has had a clear impact on that. It has been a rollercoaster of arguments throughout the placement, and it's a shame that we haven't found any solid argument against the Irish government. However, hopefully they will continue with their liberal agenda after having recently approved gay marriage, eventually securing women equality.